DHD back with some of the rarest Call of Duty games ever. I believe this one is the rarest. Final Front's on PlayStation 2. While everyone else was playing World at War on 360 and PS3,
to Japan, and getting this war
the
over
PlayStation 2 players
it was the
that
largest
haven't
of the
moved on
Ryukyu
yet,
Islands, and our first
they
foothold
had
on the
this.
Japanese home islands. When we invaded mainland Japan, it would be from Okinawa. We were fighting on Japanese soil for the first time. They had been desperate to stop us before, but now they were fanatical. The guys in Europe were lucky. Their war was almost over. Ours was about to reach its bloodiest moment.
You know, America gets a lot of shit for dropping the nuclear bombs on Japan. I don't regret that one bit. We were right to do it. The estimates for the casualties if we would have invaded mainland Japan were so bad. There were supposed to be about 10 million Japanese civilians and military men, women, whatever. They would have thrown everyone at us. But there were about 10 million of them dead, and 1 million of us dead.
This stands between us and the last
Compared to the
Japanese position
bombs,
on the
which
island.
killed less than a
We have a
million.
nice spot. Bunkers and mortars look dug
More
in.
lives were saved by using
We
them
gotta take
bombs,
that
because
risk,
back in
clearing
those
every trench
days,
and
the
every bunker
Japanese
as we
still had
go.
the
Maybe we
Bushido
scared 'em off. They
outlook.
all belly stick themselves
Never
like they
surrender,
do.
fight to the last man, much like the German SS did. In fact, that's where I think the SS got it from. And we saw that. Each island we got closer to mainland Japan, the fighting got worse and worse and worse, and they never surrendered. And it wasn't just that, they had brainwashed the Japanese population too. Like on the one island, I believe it was Saipan, there was a large cliff on one side. And as the Americans approached on that side of the island, the civilian population, what was left of it, they threw themselves off the rocks. I mean, these were cliffs that were hundreds of feet high. Mothers with their babies just jumped off of the rocks onto the beach below, which was rocky, and they all died on impact. Why? Because they said the Americans were just devils, foreign devils. What do you think would have happened once the Americans, us, got to the mainland? They were teaching their civilians to fight with, you know, bamboo sticks, sharp bamboo sticks, and all this shit. Those nuclear bombs, as bad as they were, saved a lot of lives in getting Japan to surrender. There is no disputing that. Now you can say that it did usher in a new era of warfare, which it did, and that's horrible. But a lot of people would have died if American forces and the Russians were fighting on the northern fronts back on
Machine gun!
the area that's now like North Korea, around that area, Manchuria. They were fighting them there too. The casualties would have been horrific. And for the Japanese that want to complain about it, I can say, well, what's the alternative? Less than 1 million dead from the bombs, or 10 million dead estimates. 10 million dead Japanese just because you were so diehard didn't want to surrender or lose war. I mean, take your pick. And something that I think is a bit hypocritical is the Japanese didn't really have to pay all that severely for the shit that they did during the war, whereas the Germans got excoriated. And rightfully so, they both did a lot of evil shit, but if you look at some of the evil shit the Japanese did, it was on par with the Germans, or even worse. Look at, I think it was Unit 731. All the crap they did, the rape of Nanking, the shit they did to the Chinese was just unspeakable. The Bataan Death March. Japanese had concentration camps too. To give you an idea of some of the disgusting shit that the Japanese did in that Unit 731, I do believe it was called Unit 731. They were notorious for giving people vivisections. That means cutting them open, taking the organs out, doing medical experiments on them without anesthesia. They did that. They would do live weapon testing on people. You know, if they created a new gun or a new flamethrower, you wanted to see what it would do to people. Yeah, just test it out on the Chinese or POWs. Horrible, horrible, horrible things. And then there was the biological crap they did. It's been about a year since I looked at the article, but I believe that they recreated the bubonic plague and tried to spread it through fleas. They were called flea bombs. They wanted to drop these flea bombs on places like Los Angeles and spread the plague over here. They tried doing it in Japan. I mean, not Japan, in China. It didn't really work that well, but they did get the plague spread a little. It spread a little bit, it just didn't spread like it did in Europe back in, you know, when the bubonic plague was the big thing. I just think it's extremely hypocritical to sit there and lambaste the Germans about the shit they did, which was horrible, and then say nothing about the Japanese. It's like you are just displaying your own cognitive dissonance and just sheer ignorance of history.
Get down the tunnel and secure that bunker. Help me carry him. I've got a man down.
While both fronts would have been horrible to fight on in World War II, I think that the Pacific Theater would have been much worse. I think the Pacific Theater and the Russian theater, you know, Stalingrad, all that shit, those probably would have been the two worst, period. The Pacific was a hot, humid hellhole with bugs and diseases everywhere. Stalingrad and Russia was a frozen wasteland. Stalingrad saw the worst fighting, without a doubt. I don't even know why Stalingrad was such a big objective for the Germans. I think it was just because the town bore Stalin's name. Hitler and Stalin hated each other.
Well,
I think they had one tank factory that produced T-34s, but it hardly seems like an objective worth throwing all those people into.
Enemy ahead, Sergeant! They're crawling out of the damn woodwork!
Get down, use the Sherman for cover. Get your head down! Use the Sherman for cover, damn it! That's what armored support's for!
Shut up, Kiefer Sutherland. Iron sights. Why? Why would you need iron sights for
Enemy
this
on the
weapon?
left bank!
Get down, use the Sherman for cover!
The Scheumann. It's not a Joyman Scheumann, is it? Oh, those are friendlies. I think they were shooting me. It's not very friendly. All this foliage and getting ambushed from everywhere. Just made me think of the hedgerows in France. That's why they hated them so much. American soldiers freaking hated the French hedgerows. And you better bet your ass that the Germans hid everything that they could in them, and why wouldn't they? We would have done the same thing if we were on defense there.
Miller, if you got any bright ideas, pal, now's the time!
I have no bright ideas. None. If you could see my head right now, you see a look that just says, I've got no bright ideas. Absolutely nothing running through this head.
Move up.
This looks very Japanese. We still have forces on Okinawa. Yeah. How many years? About 80 years afterwards, we still got forces there. I mean, the reason why we still have them there now is to help contain China, but China wouldn't have been in the position it's in if the Trilateral Commission and the Globalists didn't give them a free pass on pretty much everything. Said, here, go ahead, steal Western technology all you want. You won't have immunity, but we'll make sure nothing happens to you. Globalism ruined everything.
It ain't over yet.
Looks like the enemy's dug deep into some bunker! Two of them!
Listen up.
I talk with some dumbasses in my nation too that actually believe globalism's a good thing. Every excuse in the book from, oh, well, we didn't want those jobs anyway. Well, we've got nothing but low-paying jobs here. Yeah, that worked out well for us. All the good-paying manufacturing jobs, gone. Life expectancy going down. Suicide rates increasing. Thanks, globalism. It's not just America, too. I'm bitching about America and its fight against globalism, but it's going on throughout the entire Western world. In fact, it's pretty much hitting everybody. The people in China are rolled over by the Chinese Communist Party, the worst regime that the world has ever seen. Yes, that includes the Nazis. The Chinese Communist Party makes the Nazis look like junior varsity, or worse, a bunch of sophomores.
Get out of the open!
Woodpecker ahead, Sergeant.
All this shit was a result of decisions made after this war, and later on after the fall of the Soviet Union.
Move in, let's finish this now.
Who's shooting me in the back? Oh, it was him. Oh, the Japanese don't die ass up. Well, technically, he did. He died ass up, but not like the Germans did. I guess you could say that the Germans died butt up. Actually, look at what they're wearing. Oh, his body disappeared. They look like they're very outfitted for the hot tropical weather. I mean, still covering their arms and legs to try to help fight all the different bugs that are out there, but doesn't look particularly hot either. Then there's these uniforms. Yeah, your arms are gonna get bit to shit. How are these trees still standing? All their roots are wrapped around this concrete. Stone. I bring the gift of fire. Whoa, you don't like my gifts? They did not. They killed me. They said, we hate your gifts. Die.
Listen up. Here they come, Sergeant.
Get down!
Get down!
Finally!
Spawned me in a bad spot there. Oh, right out in the open.
Find some cover!
Thompson. Well, this is all close range anyway. Don't really need the Grant.
Inside, guys! Smoke them out!
Do they ever stop coming? Good lord. You have died with great dishonor. You have brought shame to your family. You will not become the ghost of Tsushima. That was an okay game. They could have done a hell of a lot more with it, but it was alright.
Get out of there!
Move in, let's finish this now! Woodpecker ahead, Sergeant!
Thompson M1A1 45 ACP. Flies at about 830 feet per second, hits with about 360 foot-pounds of energy. Out of a barrel this length, those numbers would change, but not by much. Oh, this guy died ass up. He must have met the Germans. That almost looks like a Klan hood. Except it's on backwards. The Democrats would know all about that. They started it. We lost the Civil War. Oh, we need a paramilitary group to inflict terror upon our opponents. Back then it was a Klan, now it's BLM. Yeah, during all the shit that happened in 2020, if you lived in America and you know how BLM started out, it started out a result after Trayvon Martin got killed. George Zimmerman killed him, rightfully, in self-defense. BLM started. And they were pretty much just a small organization. When 2020 rolled around and George Floyd got killed, and all of a sudden this organization is worldwide. I mean, it's everywhere. They've got chapters in Africa, BLM in Africa. Really? What whitey is oppressing them there? They've got chapters in South Korea. Once again, really? Why does BLM have chapters in South Korea? Because it's not about social justice, it's not about oppression. It's a Marxist organization, and it has been. That shocked the shit out of me when I saw how many different countries erupted in BLM protests after George Floyd died. I thought, there's no way that this happened. through grassroots efforts. Someone paid for
We're gonna
this.
have to pull back or be overrun by our advance.
You don't get that big
Let's stop Tokyo.
in less than a
Gonna ram it
decade,
right down
unless someone is
Tokyo's
heavily
throat, right,
financing you.
Well, the road's open, Polanski, but we're not at the end of the line just yet.
How'd you like this, Polanski?
All the
Genuine
useful
Japanese
idiots
sport.
bought it all up. Got caught in the virtue signaling. Typhoon of Steel. Well, I gotta say something about this Call of Duty so far. It's got a longer campaign than most of them. And it's all straightforward shooting. It's not that dumb shit that the Modern Warfare 2 remake did. Well, it's not a remake, it's a reboot. The Modern Warfare 2 reboot did where, oh my god, you lost all your weapons. Your craft stuff.